Hey, what's up, guys? All right, so let's talk about the contract. You already had your discovery call. The client already said, yes, absolutely, send me the proposal. You sent them the proposal, and they already said yes to that. Okay, so how do we protect ourselves from having problems with our clients? Okay, you need to be very smart with this because you don't want to get into trouble like things like people asking for refunds or people not being happy with your performance and then suing you, and like all of these things. So this contract right here is the one that I use. I am not in a legal position to tell you how to do it. This is something that we came up with my team according to our needs. So if you have a lawyer that can guide you through this process and make sure that everything that you say here in the contract is correct, I would really recommend that, because you want to be safe. And depending on the laws of your country and whatever, you need to be safe. But I'll give you this contract that we use all the time. It has worked for us, and I hope you don't have any problems with it. Just go through it, read it, make sure it's up to your standards, and like it matches what you're doing. All right, so let's go over it. We say, hey, this agreement is made on set date between client's name and yourself. I put my name and my company's name because I have a company, right? Now, description of the services. This is something that you need to go and edit depending on what you're doing for them. So, during the terms of this agreement, the contractor will provide setup management and optimization of sales funnels, right? Most of you guys will not put Facebook ads. I do it because I do Facebook ads too. The client will furnish all of the facilities, labor, material, furnishing, and equipment necessary for the client's operation. What does this mean? This means that they have to buy ClickFunnels, they have to get ActiveCampaign or whatever software that you're going to use, they need to provide it. Remember that you're not going to build their funnels in your ClickFunnels account. Never do that, right? So that's what it means. They need to have their own software and you will build it in their software. Then service location, the service to be provided under this agreement shall be performed at the contractor place of business, right? So this is to say, hey, I travel the world, I can do my job from wherever I want, right? My place of business is the world. It doesn't have to be an office. The client cannot tell you like, hey, you have to be physically here in this office, all right? Schedule and days off. This is really important because when you start working with clients, they tend to be a little bit abusive and they want to contact you at all times. I'm the kind of person that if a client texts me at 9 p.m., I still reply to their messages because I want to give them a super good red carpet um, kind of relationship with me. It also depends on the type of message. Like I've had clients that scream out loud like, hey, I'm having this problem, I need to solve it right now, and it's 10 p.m. I reply to them if it's an emergency. If not, I can wait till next day, but at least let them know that you have a set time for them so that they don't abuse it, right? If you don't answer to them on a Saturday, it's fine. And they signed a contract saying it was fine for them, right? Say that there's a 48-hour response. I never take 48 hours to respond to a client. I feel like that's way too much. I feel like if I take more than 3 hours to respond to my clients, I'm already taking a long time. It's just how I am and my personality. I like to give them a lot of attention, right? Then you're going to do the payment for these services. So you already did the proposal. You already know how much you're going to charge for that project. So this is just like, hey, this is how much it's going to be. So the contractor shall perform the services for a total fee of $3,500 a month with a minimum contract of 3 months. So that's really important. If you're doing a monthly payment, you need to say, hey, you can either cancel it at any time, or you have a minimum contract of 2 months, 3 months, whatever it is. And super important, I always say this is not refundable, because I know that I'm going to give my absolute very best for my clients. So I don't want them to be asking for their money back after a month, because I'm going to freaking give them all of my best services. So I know that they're not going to ask for the money back. Now, that depends on you. If you give a shitty service, then they'll probably sue you and ask for the money back and be super annoying. So make sure that you give a really good service to them. Okay? Please, promise. All right, so payment agreement. This is very important. Like, if you're going to charge every single month, you need to let them know that the payment is going to automatically be deducted from their card on file. These happen to us a lot. We have like a monthly payment for Facebook ads and some funnel services, and they paid the first month, and it didn't say this on the contract. And then the first month came, and we automatically deducted the money from their card, and they were like, oh, why are you charging me without telling me? So we started adding things to this contract as we went, because we didn't want to get in trouble with our clients. So if you're doing monthly payments of some sort, make sure that you're telling them that it will automatically be deducted from their card. So when they buy something through ClickFunnels that has a payment plan or has installments, it's automatically going to be deducted from their account, right? Now, what happens if they're late with their payment, right? For example, that Stripe charges the money, but it doesn't go through, it gets declined. Then you say, hey, within 3 days of invoice, if the payment is late, then all services will be suspended. Okay, it's not like, hey, you can go on and not pay for a month and I'm going to still work. No, never do that. If they don't pay within 3 days, maximum 5 days, stop working until they pay, right? You don't want to work for free. All right, other terms like this agreement takes effect on this date, and you're going to set a time frame. Remember that in the proposal, we did a time frame like this. So that's the kind of time frame that I put here. It starts today and it takes 3 weeks. Or if it's a monthly deal, you can say starts today and it's ongoing, right? So I put January 31st to ongoing, all right? Termination for the fault. So it can happen that you are not happy with the client, or it can happen that they're not happy with you. So they can, so it says, if either party breaches any material provision of this agreement or fails to correct the breach, or a breach cannot be corrected within 30 days, fails to progress diligently towards correction, then the other party may terminate the agreement by giving 10-day written notice to the breach party, right? So this is for you as much as it is for them. So if they say, no, I don't like to work with you, they just send you a 10-day notice, written notice, to say, hey, I don't want to work with you anymore. Same the other way, right? With my clients, I'm a little bit flexible with this. Like, if we've been working for 6 months and they're already like, okay, I don't need this anymore, this is done. If they cancel 3 days before the next payment, I'm like, okay, it doesn't matter. Like, I'm not going to say, yeah, you have to do it in 10 days. No, I'm super flexible with them. But just so you know, this also accounts for you too. Like, you can tell your client, hey, you know what? I don't think we're a good match to work together. Let's end the contract in 10 days, right? And then same thing, renewal for monthly retainers. This agreement may be renewed or extended with a written consent of both parties, right? So if you have a minimum contract of 3 months and then you just speak about it, you can renew that contract or just extend it, all right? Non-disclosure. Contracts shall not directly or indirectly disclose any personal to any person other than representatives of client at any time, either during the term of this agreement or following of the termination or expiration. Therefore, any confidential or proprietary information pertaining to the client. So what this means is you guys are funnel builders are going to have access to all of their intellectual property, right? So you're probably going to build membership areas for clients that are going to sell that information for $3,000. You're going to have access to their Stripe account. You're going to have access to their ClickFunnels account. You're going to have a lot of information in your hands that is very sensitive, all right? So here, you're protecting your client. You're telling them, hey, I'm not going to take your intellectual property and go and run off and sell it somewhere else. Or I'm not going to take your passwords and go and give it to someone else, all right? Please, you have a big responsibility here. It is up to you to make clients fall in love with you and, like be a good person, please. So this part of the contract is to protect your client's information, all right? Same thing, and you cannot, okay, this is kind of like a non-competition kind of thing. Like you cannot compete or for the 2 following years after the agreement terminates, you cannot compete against that person, right? So let's say I have a client that is doing I don't know, dog food, right? And then after I terminate my client, my contract, I'm going to go for another dog food seller and go and tell them, hey, I have this exact strategy that you need to compete against that person. Please don't have that type of mentality. Like, be nice. Just be nice. Be nice. That's all you need to do. Relationships and parties, the relationship of the parties that independent contractors and not a partnership. So this is very important because you want to let them know that they're just a client for you, all right? If they see you as a partner, they will think that you have to do everything and they don't have to do anything, all right? Or that you are their employee and that you're full-time. Like, no, you have other clients. So that's something really important that you have to kind of assess with them. You have other responsibilities and they're not the only clients that you have. Okay. So it says contractor shall defend, indemnify and hold client harmless from and against any income, payroll, or holding taxes assessed upon the okay. So this means that they are going to hire you as independent contractors and they don't have to pay like payroll to you because you're not an employee. They don't have to pay taxes to you, right? Or pay insurance because you are just an independent contractor, not an actual employee. Assignment. Neither party may assign this agreement without the prior written consent of the other party, except that the contractor may subcontract or delegate portions of the service provided. However, that in no case shall client be liable to any party other than the contractor or for any amount in excess of the price. All right, so what does this mean? This means that they're hiring me as the one that's going to fulfill the work, right? They're hiring me as Angela Flores to build a funnel, but I can go and delegate something to someone else. Like, hey, I hire you, for example. I go and hire you to build the structure of the funnel, but the direct contact is still me and the client. You have nothing to do with the client, right? So that's part of the contract. Like, I can go and delegate some stuff, but I'm responsible for everything. No disparagement or misappropriation. At no time following the effective date shall the client or contractor make any statements to take any other actions whatsoever to disparage, defame, sully, or compromise the goodwill. All right. So this is super important because if someone decides to go and talk shit about you on social media, they are signing against it, right? Things can go wrong. things can go wrong. You can work with people that you don't like. Like you're going to give your very best to give the best service to build their funnels, but things happen. And you don't want them to have the possibility to go on social media and start saying shit about you. All right. So that's what these means. Like they cannot go and talk bad about you or your company outside of us. They have to talk about it, and maybe they can do legal, like they can sue you and stuff like that, but they cannot go to social media and say bad things about you. All right. Dispute resolution. Okay, so this is actually in the United States, so you have to kind of see how it would work for you wherever you are in the world. It's just like, hey, if you have a disagreement, how are you going to handle it? What type of legal actions can they take, depending on where you're at? I've never had a problem with my clients. I'm super transparent and I talk to them. I've never had a legal problem whatsoever. Okay. Then liability. So contractor will not be liable for loss, damage, or delay of client's project due to circumstances beyond contractor's control. So what that means is that, yes, you are responsible to give your content on time, to give your funnels on time. But if there's circumstances that get out of your hands, like for example, we're building a funnel right now for a client and we asked them to do like 6 things. And we were supposed to hand in the funnel on the 22nd. Today is the 24th. And the client hasn't given us all of the information for us to finish the funnel. So we are not responsible for not being on time. It's their fault. It's not our fault, right? So that kind of things. Or, like there was an earthquake and my computer went on a ditch, whatever. Like the client has to be mindful of that, right? And then confidentiality. Again, you are not to take their information and take it somewhere else. Use your relationship with your client to your own benefit. Be super nice. All right. This is all about being nice, all about being good people, doing a service and fulfilling our job. All right. Okay. And then severalty. If any provisions of this agreement shall be held to be invalid or unenforceable for any reasons, the remaining provisions shall continue to be valid and reinforceable. If a court finds any provisions of this agreement is invalid. Okay, so this is just legal stuff, right? Like if a court, like legal court, goes and says like this is not valid, then okay, you'll deal with it, but that's probably not gonna happen, right? Now, you just sign it and sign the client. In another video, I'll tell you how to send the proposal and the contract to your client so they can sign it. And yeah, I'll make another video because this one is already too long. So check the next video on how to sign your contract.